Hello everyone and welcome to the garage on Ride By. Now for small car enthusiasts like myself, few things are as iconic as these two words, Mini and Cooper. Now it's a car that literally started the small car revolution around a half a century ago. Now suffice it to say that today, the Mini Cooper has all grown up. It's fast, it's fun to drive, it's super high-tech, and oh, did I mention, it's electric. This is the 2025 Mini Cooper SE. So the Mini Cooper SE is Mini's top-of-the-line 3-door Mini Cooper powered by an electric motor. So this particular variant gets a front-mounted electric motor that pumps out a decent 218 horsepower and 330 newton meters of torque. Now on paper, that may not sound like much, but out on the road where it really matters, boy, this thing is super fast. And it feels like it could easily have more than double that power. But before we go into those details, let's first talk about the looks of this Mini. So in true Mini fashion, you can tell that this thing is a Mini Cooper from a mile away. You get the signature round headlights, the sweeping bodywork, and that, that modern retro charm that really accompanies Mini's cars. So you get 18-inch alloy wheels with two-tone diamond cut finish. And here in the back, you get these very fancy taillights, which you can actually choose the pattern that the LED lights will follow depending on your preferences. Continuing on here on the back, you get a very sleek and streamlined look over here. And on the roof, it's blacked out like the Minis of old. So you get a two-tone finish here. You get nice red bodywork and a black roof. And as well, blacked out mirrors too. So the car rolls on, as I mentioned, 18-inch wheels and 18-inch Goodyear tires. So these are a bit medyo low profile yung gulong niya. So expect a bit of a, it's a 40 series. It's a 225/40 18-inch tire. So manipis lang siya, low profile. So on roads na medyo malubak, less than ideal road conditions, you can expect a sort of a harsh ride from this car. Okay, so now that we're done talking about the looks of the car on the outside, let's take a look inside. Okay, so stepping inside the Mini Cooper SE. So bago pa tayo pumasok, it senses the key is nearby. So it already turns on the aircon, turns on the music, turns on everything. So you're nice and comfy here. Now, before we continue, we'd really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe to the garage, because that way it really helps us continue making content and improving the way we do things around here. So yeah, continuing on the interior of the Mini Cooper SE. So to start it up, it doesn't have a key. It has this very interesting central panel here with just a few buttons. So there's a button here that says power, start, stop. I don't know if you can see that from there. It says start, stop here from where I can see it. So you just turn it like a key that way. And then you're greeted with a chime that welcomes you into the car and immediately reminds you to fasten your seatbelt. So interesting thing to note about this car is this interface has driver profile. So for some reason, it automatically uses a guest profile there, as you can see. And you can change profile to driver so that it remembers the settings that you chose previously and automatically connects your phone once it detects. So one thing that you're gonna have to note about this display, it's round, it's 9.5 inches, but it's also a bit slow. So that's where, I find it's not ideal for if you're in a hurry to go. It kind of wants you to sit down and make sure everything is in order before you can drive. So ayan, we have our wireless Apple CarPlay here, wireless Android Auto. At least when you switch to your driver profile, automatic na nagko-connect yung cellphone mo. So here lang, syempre, Mini tried to preserve the very retro look of this car. So it used a perfectly circular instrument panel. So medyo the design, I think, could have been a bit better. I think they could have designed the CarPlay to use more of the circular space, because as you can see, there's a lot of dead space here on the sides, especially when you're using Waze. Effectively, it only uses about the center of the display, so marami siyang dead space. Other than that, you can't really complain. It's very easy to use, very functional. As Apple CarPlay interfaces go, this is one of the simplest, one of the easiest to use. So you have all your apps, you have your Waze, you have your music, and you have your phone. So talking about climate control, There are no physical buttons for the climate control. You have to press the shortcut here in the bottom tab, this fan icon. So there are modes, there are AC modes, there's a dual zone climate control system. You can choose the temperature for the passenger and the driver separately, as well as adjust the fan speed over here. There's very low, low, medium, high, and very high. There's also automatic mode. Now for adjusting the vents, the driver side vent, there is a switch here for you to turn the vent on and off, and simply moving the vent up and down, left and right is done manually. The same with the passenger side. There's also a central air conditioning vent over here. This is the switch for that vent. And to adjust the position of the vent, there's a knob, a toggle knob over here. So up and down, left and right. Okay, so I'm sure you're all aware that the Mini Cooper, across all variants, is really first and foremost a fashion statement. And this interior is living proof of that. I mean, just look at all of this texture, look at all of the design that you get here. The dashboard is adorned in this fabric. It's like a fabric upholstery, and this fake strap here, which she doesn't do anything other than look cool. So yeah, so apparently it's made out of recycled fabric. So it's very aligned with the car's ethos of, sustainability, all while being fun at the same time. So you get this strap over here. The same strap can be found here in the steering wheel. Very interesting. It's a soft strap. And as well as here on this storage box, which akala mo, ano lang siya, no? Parang purse or whatever, but it's where you put your stuff. It's very small, no? So it reminds me of a Kleenex dispenser kind of thing. Now here in the center, you get a wireless charging pad. You get 2 USB-C ports. You get a cigarette lighter port for you to plug in whatever accessories you want. And you get 2 cup holders. This one's bigger than the other one. This is probably for your latte or for espresso. And this is for maybe a small to medium-sized flask. But nothing like those big hydro flasks. They won't fit here. So now let's talk about the infotainment again. Let's go back into the Apple CarPlay interface. This thing, it takes pride, Mini takes pride in its audio system. And that audio is brought to you by none other than one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best manufacturers when it comes to vehicle audio systems, and that's Harman Kardon. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 speakers, I believe, 6 speakers in this car. And I must say that this is one of the best sounding audio systems I've ever experienced in any car. Okay, so now with all that out of the way, let's take a look at what the passengers in the back, assuming you're crazy enough to have any, are in for. So now if if for some reason you're driving a Mini and you need to put people in the back, it's possible. I don't recommend it, but it is possible. I'll show you how it's done. So this one has a tab here. Both seats have a pull tab that lets you recline it forward, and it just automatically moves max paharap. Now to get in, I'm 5'8". It's gonna be a struggle, pero there we go. So I'll put this back. So this is going to be my driving position. So I'm 5'8" and I'm here seated in the back of the Mini Cooper SE. And as you can see, medyo masikip talaga siya, no? I hardly have any legroom. My shins are pushed up against the driver's seat over here, and my knees are, if I slouch slightly, tumatama na siya sa driver's seat. There is an adjustable headrest here, which is that's all you get. If you want to take a nap here, good luck with that. It's a 4-seater. Don't expect to seat anyone here in the middle. The other side is the same story. You don't get any cup holders. You get one here, which is shared with the people in front. You don't get any charging ports. You get this interesting slot for you to put your stuff, maybe just your phone and your wallet, but other than that, you don't get anything else. Okay, now I'm gonna get out. Let's see. So assuming nag-stop na tayo sa mall, umalis na yung driver, and iniwanan ako dito sa likod. How do I get out? So I pull this thing and push it forward. The seat should slide, and it is. Now how do I open the door? So I have to reach over here. So pull that, push the door open, and one leg at a time. And my head. There we go. And I'm out. Okay, now let's talk about the cargo space of this car. So opening the rear hatch, there is a switch here. Low power tailgate, and that's fine for a car like this. So yeah, with the rear seats up, this is pretty much all you get. So this is my backpack, which I use on a daily basis. Pag nakaganin na siya, hindi na siya kasha. You have to lay it on its side, like so. So what can you put there other than just your daily essentials? Nothing really. Thankfully, however, you can fold down the rear seats and you can access that folding mechanism from here, from the back. So you just pull this tab and push the seat down. And now you have a bit more space. You can remove the tonneau, as is the case with all cars of this type. There, so I'm thinking you can probably fit a golf bag or two, maybe a couple of maletas. But you do sacrifice the ability to carry passengers. Nevertheless, you don't get a car like this to carry stuff or passengers. You get it to have a good time. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a good time on this car when we hit the road. Okay, so before we hit the road, let's first take a look what's underneath the hood. So to open the hood, like with all cars, there is a lever here. You pull it once and twice to unlock it. So it is supported by hood struts. And look at that. At first glance, you would think this is not an electric car. This is an internal combustion engine, right? You get a battery here, you get a bunch of hoses, you get a bunch of, a lot of wires, a lot of stuff like that. But guys, this is a full electric car. I think Mini just chose to let everyone see this, maybe to make it easier to service, easier to change whatever the coolant is, to top up whatever, to do service on this car. Nevertheless, we don't recommend anyone other than an authorized Mini technician or mechanic to work on a car like this. Okay, so yeah, that's the engine, the motor, and the battery. Okay, now let's get behind the wheel of the Mini Cooper SE and see what it's like to drive. Okay, so here we are behind the wheel of the Mini Cooper SE electric vehicle. So I'm sure you can notice it's very quiet. Hindi siya kagaya ng mga ibang Mini na sporty like the Cooper S and the Cooper S John Cooper Works. It's super quiet actually. So you could actually forget that you're driving a sporty vehicle because of just how quiet it is. So yeah, driving dynamics are very good. The power, as I mentioned a while ago, is on point. 218 horsepower doesn't seem like a lot, pero simply because of how instantaneous it delivers that power, it really feels like it has 300, if not even 400 horsepower. So now, I think one of the more important things to talk about when it comes to this car is yung kanyang mga technology features. And all of that tech is housed inside this massive 9.5-inch infotainment display. So as you can see, wala na siyang instrument cluster sa harapan. All you get is a heads-up display, which is just a panel of glass and a projector that shows you how fast you're going. That's all you get here in this glass in front. This is where it's at when it comes to technology, this 9.5-inch circular display. So there are multiple drive modes, which Mini calls experiences. So dito nakalagay experiences ang nakalagay dito sa switch. So to toggle those experiences, you just flip up and down. So right now we are in core mode. So core is like your standard mode, automatic mode siya kumbaga. So every time you start the car, it's going to be in core mode. There are also a number of other modes here. So green, as the name suggests, it's efficiency. So each mode is accompanied by some fancy animation that shows you what it's good at. So itong green mode is all about efficiency. So you can see, depending on how hard you're stepping on the throttle, it will show you an icon on the screen of, like ngayon, parang siyang hummingbird, no? Meron siyang hummingbird animation that shows that you're being efficient in your driving. But once you step on the accelerator, nagiging cheetah siya. Oh. So kita mo, yan, oh, from a hummingbird, and then when I step on the gas, it becomes a cheetah, showing high consumption. So it's a nice little touch, no? Of course, you can still access your Apple CarPlay, your climate control, and everything while you are in this display. Let's look at the other modes. So that's green mode. Now we move to personal mode. So this is, as the name suggests, it's a custom mode that you can change the visuals of the car. So right now, kasi we're driving, natin siya pwede palitan. You can change the image on the screen here. So meron siya ngayon, I chose like an island in the middle of the ocean kasi gusto ko yung aesthetic niya. There are other designs you can choose from, and the colors of the cabin will change accordingly. Moving on, we're looking now at vivid mode. So itong vivid mode, yeah, so it makes some animation sounds. It makes an animation, it makes some sound cues. So what vivid mode is actually more for the music, for sa mga mahilig kapag music. It automatically puts on the music or the Apple CarPlay, and it also changes the color of the display to be more vivid and vibrant, no? there. So it's like a rose, almost like a hot pink color. Next, we have timeless. So we all know ang Mini Cooper is a classic inspired car. So there you get this analog looking gauge. Na itong timeless mode is really more of just an aesthetic thing. It's more of, just for you to see yung kanyang retro heritage. Now moving on, you get balance. So ito medyo kung hipster ka, Gen Z ka, tas medyo yoga, you're a yoga girl or a yoga dude, ito yung para sa'yo. So you'll notice the cabin makes some zen-like sounds, and there's bubbles on the screen. It's all very gimmicky, I know, but it makes the driving experience a bit more fun. So here, look. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is making a sound. It's making like some angelic spiritual sound, as if nasa spa ka. And also, of course, so part of the gimmick, and sayang hindi natin makita ngayon kasi it's daytime Sa gabi, when you're driving at night, there are projectors all over the car, that show light. So it depends on the mode that you're on. Iiba yung kulay ng ambient lighting niya. So ito with balance mode, blue at saka teal and greenish hues ang lalabas sa light projection niya. So very, very gimmicky and I must say, it's very fun. But out of all the modes, my personal favorite just has to be this. Go-kart. So yan, kita nyo, nag-woohoo siya. So ibig sabihin, it's time for some serious fun. Let me just pause the music for a sec so you can really see what this is all about. Okay, so going back, go-kart mode. Okay. So you'll notice, yan, meron siyang sound. Parang nasa spaceship. And so what go-kart mode does, I think this is actually the star of the show when it comes to this car, no? Because what go-kart mode does is it tightens up the steering, makes it a bit heavier. It increases your throttle response and makes this thing feel like a freaking rocket ship. Serious, guys. Sobrang lakas ng response niya when you put it on go-kart mode. Here, let me show you guys. And listen to the sound it makes, ha? Okay, so Mr. Cameraman, you're gonna wanna hold on a bit. Grabe, di ba? Look at how instant everything. It's insane, guys. It's like, nakaka-addict siya. If you like cars, like kasi ako growing up, I love these naturally aspirated inline-4 cars. So yung mga 4AGE, mga 4G63, naturally aspirated, or even the turbo, or like a Honda B series. Yung response na parang instantaneous This is kind of it, except in the electric era. So this is the future. If this is the future of performance driving, no, come on, sign me up, guys. Seriously, this is insanely addicting. So here, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, spaceship sounds, guys. So yeah. So let's go back to Earth for a second and be more sensible. Okay, so yeah, now we are back on green mode. It's for efficiency, and because when you're driving this car, you can't stick it on go-kart mode and leave it there forever kasi you're gonna run out of juice really quick. So this car kasi, it has a pretty small battery, all things considered. It has a 56 kilowatt-hour battery pack. And that's good for, if you leave it on eco mode, on green mode, looking at around 350 kilometers. But let's be honest, you're not gonna be leaving it on green mode. You're gonna be driving this, you're gonna be having fun with this car. So it's a safe assumption to say na mga 280, 290 kilometers on a full charge. And personally, for a car like this, for a car as fun as this, medyo bitin lang siya for me. But yeah, charging should be fairly easy because it has a standard CCS Type 2 charging plug, which means you can just charge it in any SM Ayala Mall, even in the gas station chargers, as well as at home, because I believe that Mini will supply you with a home charger with every purchase of this car. So now we are here in Talisay, which is one of, actually no, I'll be honest with you guys, this is my ultimate favorite road. So I've driven on this road, I have ridden multiple motorcycles up and down this road. I'm not exaggerating, probably 1,000 times now, because we have a place here in Tagaytay. So every time I go up to Tagaytay, I pass this road up and down. So I love it. It's my favorite road. And man, this is the place for this car to flex its muscles and to let loose. Kasi yung chassis, sobrang dynamic, ang ganda ng handling. So suspension, is on point. You get McPherson struts in the front and you get an independent multi-link suspension system at the back. So that results in really lively handling through these twisty corners, these tight switchbacks and hairpin turns. The car is hardly ever upset. It doesn't understeer. It doesn't rotate either. You know, unlike yung mga iba like the Civic FD, despite being front wheel, it rotates. So this one doesn't really rotate. It's just planted. It kind of drives like it's on rails. So totoo lang. Okay, now, driving position on the Mini Cooper SE. It's not a sports car, but you know, I'd say that this is definitely a hot hatch. Hot hatch territory talaga to, and the driving position makes that very clear. You get these almost racing style seats, no? Very commanding position. You're forced to arch your back a bit, and you know, it hugs you. For me, it fits like a glove. Perfect fit sa akin siya. Very nice lumbar support, lower back support, and the adjustability is also very nice. I like how the steering wheel can be adjusted from a very wide range of adjustment here. So like, I like my steering wheels up close and high up, and this is just perfect, this driving position for me, because it lets me have a good visual of the road ahead and have a lot of leverage over the steering wheel as we are tackling these tight twisty turns here in Talisay. Okay, so other things to note, no, this car is definitely modern, very high-tech. So it has a slew of advanced driver assistance systems then. So meron siyang cruise control, adaptive cruise control. It comes with, you know, radar sensors up front, which actually very smart, no? It has this adaptive feature na as you're driving along on the highway, in traffic, or anywhere for that matter, it's always scanning with the radar up front, no? Scanning for traffic. And when it senses something in front of you, it'll automatically slow down, which I don't think it's the physical brakes. I think it's actually the regen. It's the motor. So, kumbaga engine brake, pero in electric parlance. So that way, you never actually really have to step on the brakes when you're driving on the city or on the highway. All you have to do is to let off the throttle, and the car will automatically slow down. Let's try to demonstrate that here on these twisty roads. So as I'm driving along, and there's a motorcycle in front of me, I just release the throttle, and as you can see, it's slowing down on its own. Very smart, very easy, no? Very easy to drive for a car like this. I only see one caveat, no? Isa lang problema nito. Because, syempre, not all cars have this smart, extremely intelligent level of driving, no? So, let's say, nasanay ka na sa Mini Cooper SE. Tapos, babalik ka sa Toyota Vios mo, babalik ka sa Mitsubishi Mirage mo. That thing's not gonna brake for you, dude. That thing is gonna run straight into whatever is in front of you. So what I'm saying is this car you kind of really have to be aware, because it could develop, you know, not the best driving habits. Just because of how smart and how easy and how well thought out the technology of this thing really is, diba? Of course, it also has all the other bells and whistles. It has lane departure assist. It has lane keep assist, so it will actually push the steering wheel back for you on the highway. Those are all configurable via the display as usual. All you have to do is here, you can just press this button over here, and then lalabas siya sa screen. So all of the driver assistance systems can be toggled through the display again. So everything here, safety, driving, the parking, and the feedback, even the weight of the steering wheel can be adjusted via the display. Even the drivetrain can be adjusted. So there are multiple things that you can toggle when it comes to the way this car drives. Now, I won't go into the details of that because there's just so many to talk about. Pero what I'm saying is that this car is highly customizable, highly easy for anyone to dial in their personal preferences when it comes to driving dynamics. Woo! What a drive! So there you have it, guys. That was a quick first drive review of the 2025 Mini Cooper SE. Now it's time for us to give our ratings. So let's start off with performance. So this car is powered by a front-mounted electric motor which pumps out 218 horsepower and 330 Newton meters of torque. Now on paper, that may not sound like much, but the way Mini has engineered the throttle response, the instantaneous acceleration, it makes it feel like it has double the power and double the torque. And simply because of that, I have to give this car a 9.5 out of 10. Why a 9.5? Because I just wish it had a bit more range, you know. It has 300 plus kilometers of real world range, which I think is kind of bitin, especially if you want to take this car out of town. Now moving on to handling. Mini Coopers are known to be dynamic cars with very good chassis dynamics, and this is no exception. Up front, you get McPherson struts, and on the rear, you get multi-link independent suspension, making it very planted in the corners and in spirited driving in general. Because I'm gonna give it a 10. 10 out of 10 for handling. Next, styling. Moving on to styling, if you look at this car, it's unmistakably a Mini, but I just wish it was a bit sportier, no? Like, it carries the S badge, so I was hoping we'd get a bit more angular bodywork, maybe some aero bits and pieces here. Not necessarily at the same level as the John Cooper Works Edition, but a bit more, a bit more chiseled than this, because the car looks a bit soft, looks a bit, a bit feminine, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And because of that, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 in terms of styling. Moving on to utility. So this is a 3-door car. It's small, it's compact, it's low. You don't buy this car to carry people or stuff. You drive it to have fun in the city and on your favorite twisty road. So you can't really fault it for not having a lot in the utility department. And because of that, it gets an 8 out of 10. It's still practical, all things considered. Okay, now value for money. So magkano nga ba itong Mini Cooper SE? So it carries a price tag of 3.3 million pesos. So medyo mahal siya for what it is. It's expensive for an EV, it's expensive for a sporty hatchback. But nevertheless, you get quite a lot of car for your money, especially if you are a Mini fanboy or fangirl. So as I mentioned, you get a lot of power, dynamic chassis, everything, the works technology, multiple experience modes. So because of that, pricing-wise, 7.5 out of 10. So time for our overall rating. Now I have to be honest with you, out of all the electric cars I've had the privilege of driving, this has to be my favorite, just simply because of how much fun it is to drive. So I'm gonna give this car a 9 out of 10, a solid 9 out of 10, because of just how enjoyable and how dynamic this thing is to drive. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the garage for the full review of this car. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to all your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.